relates to when it was Tippler. Well, both of them relate to when it was Tippler's. Now, the guys from Bewdley Brewery, who used to be here, both Tim and his dad have asked me on a couple of occasions if I've seen the ghost. The girl who Tim knew a few years ago has been in here on a party on an evening and was sat here and said to me that she said, "Have you seen the ghost?" And I said, "No." And she said, "I have." She said, "I've seen it in this room." The two stories I get told is one of a small boy who runs up and down the shop in a kind of mischievous sort of fashion. The main one is related to somebody who is either nicknamed Henry or either was called Henry. And the latest I've heard about that, which was probably last week, is that he's often dressed in gardening gear, accompanied by the smell of either primroses or a cigar, and often been seen to be washing his hands in the old sink in the back toilet, which we've now put a door on and got a new sink there.
Would you be able to show us that, where that... Because that's actually something I read earlier today as well.
Obviously this has changed a bit. This used to be open, this used to be the toilet, and there was an old sink here, stainless steel sink with a counter. And this used to be an outbuilding which was separate to the deli.
So it'd been like an outside toilet sort of thing.
So apparently this is where he was most commonly seen, although I've never experienced any of that, either the smells or any apparitions. I was standing about here talking to one of the girls who works for us in the shop, probably 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. We were having a conversation. I was looking around here. I moved out of the way to let someone come past because I had a sensation of somebody walking behind me, complete with the footsteps. I then obviously told my wife who was sat over there and the girl as well. I said, "Oh," so I just wanted to come past and there wasn't anyone here. We dismissed that based on the fact that these floorboards used to go straight through into the shop next door.
Okay, so they've actually gone that way.
So there's quite a possibility that it was somebody walking around in the shop next door. So I didn't have any strange feelings with it. The biggest thing that's happened to me, I have a friend who lives abroad with quite a time difference, and we often talk on the phone quite a lot late at night. And following a 2.5-hour conversation I had with him, which went on until nearly midnight, I promised I'd send him some photographs of the building, because obviously frequently acquired it, bits and pieces. So I was sitting in the back room on a chair. I'm looking up from my phone. I looked around and saw a person stood here, which I wouldn't describe as anything weird.
So stood in the same place
literally looked like
as
an
where you felt someone.
literal actual man, fairly normal clothes, short grey hair, stood here. I jumped out my chair, obviously like a shot at that time in the morning, to come in and ask him what he was doing and why he was in here. Obviously by the time I got up and got here, there was no one here. Didn't look like a ghost, looked like an actual person. Saw it I probably focused on it for about 1 second.
Was there one saying that the old till had gone that way?
Yeah, it did used to go that way. When I stood here, after having a look around, I had probably the worst sensation I've ever had in my life, with all the hair standing up on my body, goosebumps, everything here. I immediately pulled my phone out, went straight on here, EMF detector. This went berserk, all 3 lines, 3/4 of the way up. Obviously, I mean, I can make it do a little bit with machinery. There's nothing here now. It went mad. At which point, I spoke out and said, "Is there anybody here?"
Fair play, a lot of people would have been straight out the door, wouldn't they?
No. I said, "Is there anybody here? If so, I don't like the way you're making me feel. I don't feel comfortable with it." And it just stopped.
Also, it went on command.
So it just stopped. That went dead. Shivering, trying to stop. I shook my shoulders. And then I sat down in the back. They then actually sent my mate a message saying I've just had something proper weird happen in the shop. And he's not one to laugh at you, you know.
Yeah, quite
open-minded. He's quite open-minded about it. Having talked to a couple of the guys who work in the shop with us, they decided the best thing was to look on the CCTV. Didn't capture anything on the front camera. However, the footage I had from the rear camera shows me sitting back down in a chair when I text my mate to say something weird's happened. And I've actually recorded on my phone from the CCTV what is I would say almost certainly an orb from the fireplace in the back room.
From this fireplace here?
Straight at me and appears to go, it appears to hit me somewhere in the stomach. Well, obviously I've still got that on my phone, I saved it for you guys.
It's brilliant to see that.
So if you could send me that footage.
Send us that, we'd like to have that.
Yeah, it came in a perfect arc towards me, and it's quite clear. The only thing that's freaked me out with the distinctive memory of the short grey hair is that when it was tipplers, there used to be a guy who worked in here. I'm pretty certain, from a couple of rumours that I've heard around the town, that the guy who had actually got quite short grey hair, although he was a very tall guy, used to work in here all the time. I used to use tipplers, and quite often you'd see him in here, and I'm pretty sure it was him who died, and therefore they were then having to work the shop themselves and struggling with it, so I think that's why it went up for sale. The only other story I'd heard, which again was from the people who claim to have seen Henry and stuff, is the cellar below here used to have beer barrels in it and stuff, and quite often they've described somebody banging stuff about in the cellar. I've only heard that once. Yeah, I've only heard that once.
So I think if we put a locked off camera, literally.
I think we need to cover this area with locked off cameras, definitely.
I think if that's obviously that being such a recent one as well.
You can stick maybe the REM pod here or something. It's your hot spot, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't own any professional equipment, but obviously I've paid for a couple of apps on my phone since we've had this place because I'm just interested in it. Same as dowels, you know, I've got to walk around dowels and wander around with the...
What do you make of dowels?
I haven't been there on a night because obviously having the kids and finding somebody else to go with you. I haven't been there on a night. I've been there a few times in the daytime, and I think it's a creepy place in the day, to be honest. It doesn't look real, it looks like...
It almost looks like it's a film or something,
doesn't it? Like it's been made as part of a film set
horror
for
film
a dodgy horror film.
A
few areas of the building.
Yeah, if we could please. I say that's definitely somewhere to make a red pod or something.
Yeah, definitely.
Focus on. That's
not necessarily areas that I've had experiences in, but areas that you might interest you in.
The cellar sounds good because you said you've heard. You've got several, haven't you? Is it
the occasional barrel thing? We've got another cellar on the other side of the building, underneath the other two shops. That place is incredibly creepy. But due to the floods we've had recently, it's been flooded, and I've spent a lot of time down there getting the pump working, and there's no electric down there, so I've had lights done. So I've spent a lot of time stood down there with the cellar pump. Didn't used to switch off, it used to keep running and burn out. So when I do pump out, I'll tend to go and stand down there for 20 minutes while it's pumping out, and I've never, to be honest, it's felt reasonably comfortable down there, but it looks like it shouldn't. But we'll show you that in a bit.
exactly? Yeah.
The Historic Society have done us a report, which is very nice of them. I'll read through that. The first sentences are, another point of interest is that in the back garden, I don't know if you saw it when we came in, there's a pewterer's workshop in the back garden, down in there. The reason that's there is because the Banks family used to own this building along with quite a bit of other property along here. They later moved their foundry into the brass foundry, which is now in the museum. Which again, the brass foundry has been mentioned as being an active place.
Meant to be the most haunted area of the museum.
If that was anything to do with any member of the Banks family, then this was originally their house. So,
so they would have actually lived here?
They lived here, yes. They did.
Now that is interesting.
There are a couple of discrepancies in this when I read it and compared it to one of the books on Bewdley. Apparently Christopher Banks went bankrupt at some point, and the building then got taken over by another person who, I'm struggling to find the name looking at this now. Anyway, when I analysed it, it would appear the person who had it after Christopher Banks who was called Joseph. I think it might have been Eccleston. Anyway, when I looked through the history book and compared it to these names in here, Christopher Banks's son was called Joseph, and Christopher Banks's middle name was Eccleston. So is it possible a fiddle went on whereby an imaginary person called Joseph Eccleston took over the place so he could keep it? Because it would have been easy to do that sort of thing.
Does sound likely, doesn't
That's the sort of thing that was done a lot back then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we should set up a locked off camera in here, or
I think we should have one out there, one in here. Where else would you like us to?
Would you like to have a look at the other cellars? Yeah. Anyway, I was going to be haunted, you'd expect it to be in here just from the way it looks, but as I said, we've spent a fair bit of time down here. Putting into floods and stuff, and it's never felt that weird.
yeah, I've got to be honest, I agree with you. There was a vibe about it here. Well, you can't say as such, but just feel.
Certainly makes you wonder what's been used for and what's gone on down here in the past. Not entirely sure what that was.
Potentially.
What is it?
Unless they did do some work into the foundry down here, you don't know.
You can start to see the age of the building when you're down here. This one is the one that used to be the old beer cellar, the way it was off nice and straight tank house. So.
And this is the one with the like the noises.
Where the sound of the barrels comes from.
Yeah. It's not a very big cellar and it's a lot better condition than the others.
Oh wow.
Obviously this was where the barrels used to be.
Is that down there?
Should sell us some.
Oh,
I think
okay.
they mostly built them down the street because it's the river, but that's the old barrel run that comes in through the footpath.
Ah,
That's nice.
yeah, you can see that.
There's a steel plate on top of there.
You see Uncle Albert jumping down there now as we speak.
There's a steel plate on top of there which opens out onto the footpath. Obviously if someone walks over it,
You will, yeah.
you'll hear that. And apart from the hum of the Deli fridges, it's fairly quiet down here. But that sink's very similar to the one that used to be in the back toilet. Which apparently the guy used to wash his hands in. The scene. So, but yeah.
Like you say, you can imagine the barrels coming down.
Can't you?
Excellent. I'd say potentially a locked off camera down here, locked off camera in the other cellar,
Yeah.
and then
Two in the shop.
Two in the shop.
I think that's probably the best way of covering it.
Yeah. Right guys, so we're now set up and ready to start investigating tonight at the Deli. All the cameras are all in place, and in here in the main shop floor area we have a camera here to my left, and this is picking up the corridor, and in view of the corridor we also set up a REM pod. So obviously it's in this area where a lot of activity's been seen. There's been a figure of a man that's been spotted. I've got a cobweb.
It's the light behind you.
Is it? Oh, bloody hell. Yeah. So an apparition of a man has been seen, and that's why we set up the REM pod here, to see if he will decide to set that off tonight. Also, what we've got next to the REM pod is a little device that measures temperature and pressure, which at the moment, I don't know if you can see that, but it's reading 17.8 degrees.
It's basically so we can collaborate the information, obviously if the REM pod goes off, so we can see if there has been a major temperature drop, etc.
Exactly.
And confirm it.
Yep. So we can go on two bases with that. Now in the back area, we've set up another camera in the corner of the room there, picking up the toilet area, which in the toilet area is obviously where the little boy Henry has been seen, or we believe his name to be Henry. I'm not sure if you already caught that, but on the way through we've also brought our haunted doll, Henry. Hopefully, having the two next to each other will have some sort of effect, so we can say, you know, entice Henry the ghost to play with Henry the doll, maybe.
Also, they'd have been from a similar sort of time period by the sound of it, so...
Yeah, very much. So hopefully that will have some good results. I think here tonight on the table we're going to try and do a Ouija board session. What we'll probably do, we'll get Steve to help us with that, get him to join in. I know he said earlier on the walk around that he really wanted to try a Ouija board. So we'll get him on that as well, see what he makes of it. And we'll go to the cellars, I think, then.
Yeah, should we start with the cellar under here?
We'll start with the cellar in here, because that makes a lot of sense.
I'm not going to tell him about the massive cobweb on his back.
How bad is it?
You're okay.
Okay. So what we've got set up in here, as you can probably just tell, is one of the motion sensors. Obviously that's just picked me up now as I've come close to it, but this room we're going to leave locked off and hopefully that thing will go off on its own. It's also in this room that noises have been heard, the sound of barrels, but this is the actual cellar where barrels used to be chucked down, wasn't it, when it was a...
Yeah, where they'd have unloaded their full
Yeah.
barrels.
So noises are still heard down here, so hopefully any noises will be caught on the locked off camera. I think that's important to note. That did make me jump, but I think that noise then was actually the footpath above,
Yeah.
which we've been warned of. So we might hear that quite often, but at least we can rule that out. And yeah, we'll see if we get any activity down here tonight. We'll head to the other cellar very quickly as well.
Cheers.
So this is the larger cellar out of the two. The one that's absolutely covered in cobwebs.
This cellar really is something out of like a horror film, isn't it?
Yeah. What we've done in here is we've got a locked off camera to the right, capturing the cellar and this little archway here, which is currently flooded, so we can't go any further in there. Obviously we've had recent floods in Bewdley, so that's still flooded at the moment. But what we've got also just on the edge of that bit is a motion sensor, which as you can see has gone off as we've entered, so hopefully again we can have something else captured in here tonight. And next to the motion sensor we've brought a digital recorder which will monitor and record the whole environment throughout the whole investigation tonight.
Well, the idea is we've got the camera set up there and the digital recorder set up down there, so any noises picked up in between we can verify.
And that is about it. So we're going to start now. What do you want to do to start tonight?
I say we start in the main shop area
Yeah?
where the apparition's been seen.
Yeah, let's go for it then.
Hi guys, so here we are. We're going to start the investigation at the entrance to the shop. Over the years there's obviously been a lot of footfall in here, a lot of energies passed through. We've gone around, had a tour around, learnt a lot about the place. It's got some really interesting history, a lot of big characters of Bewdley have sort of lived here, haven't they? We're going to start off with an app called Paratek and see if we pick anything up. EMF register and start. Right, there's nothing going off on that now, that's completely clear. I'll start to see. Right, if there's anybody here in this room with us, please come forward and make your presence known. Let us know you're here. Come towards where I'm sitting. Speak to us. Or try and touch my hand. Hold out and touch my hand. Soaked.
I have no volume on that whatsoever.
Strange.
Can I have a quick look at it, sorry?
Yeah. Utterly, let's go with.
Utterly.
Utterly soaked.
Yeah.
Maybe it's all about the basement. Utterly soaked. What's utterly soaked? One. You're trying to give us a date. Nothing on the EMF earlier on. When I walked around, the EMF meter was going absolutely crazy around it.
You got nothing?
Absolutely nothing now.
Just had belong come up.
Belong. Does somebody belong here? Come forward and hold my hand. Great. Come and communicate by holding my hand. If this shop belonged to you or you worked here, come and speak to us. Cabinet. Come on, we want to meet you. We're here to talk. That's going off, that's just right there.
I just saw that.
Reset it, it's got to play on the top. You're
That's
alright.
alright.
That's going off continually now. I've reset it and that's going off continually. Are you touching my hand?
Don't know if the camera's picking that up, but
Okay, move away from my hand.
that is a bit strange.
Move away from it.
So that's spiking,
It's continuous spiking there.
yeah, continuous spiking. We've got words come up on the device as well. Usual and end.
I'll reset that. It's weird how it's spiking now and there's nothing a minute ago. But earlier on it was spiking just like this.
Yeah.
Once it up it spikes. And the side. I think that could be interference, to be honest.
Where did the interference come from? You got a word come up there.
Michael. There's somebody called Michael who lives here. Or who worked here.
You got the K2 with you?
Not on me now, it's in the other room. Can't understand that.
Maybe get the K2.
There's definitely interference there, but I can't work out where it's coming from.
You got two numbers that have appeared, 3 and 1.
3-1. Michael, 31? Is that your age? I'll do it. Try something else. Michael, come and say your name to us. Michael, I want you to say your name for me. Anybody else who is here, come and tell us your name. Anyone who is near us, come and speak to us. I want to know who the man is who was seen in this shop. Who resides here? Is there a young boy here? What's the name of the young boy who wears the flat cap? How old were you when you died? Five. What's your name? Tell me your name. Anything of relevance with that?
Not really. But that clearly shows up on camera a lot better than the other one.
The K2 is solid there.
So between them both.
Have I missed anything yet?
So we got that here. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Similar sort of reading. This one just looks higher because it's more sensitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely something here.
Completely soaked. Was it completely soaked?
Utterly soaked.
Utterly soaked. Firstly, it was an off licence for a long time. Does that relate to being absolutely drunk? Also, in the old photos of the building we've got upstairs, I've got several pictures of this place where it's like 3 foot deep. We've got one picture where the water was nearly up to the church.
From the previous flooding, I'm guessing.
I've also heard stories that when it was a doctor's surgery, when they used to park out the back when the doctors came, which was 19 something up to about 1970, when the river flooded, the doctors actually used to come to the surgery in little rowing boats and tie them up out the back and then come in, and then they couldn't use the consultancy rooms on the ground floor, which was then a problem for people who were old getting up onto the first floor to those consulting rooms because all of this was flooded.
That's interesting. So there is relevance to Utterly Soaked.
Soaked is quite relevant to the location.
We also got the name Michael 31.
Michael 31. I don't know
what we'd
that.
have to probably
I'd be really
research.
interested to find out what the guy was called. He used to work in Tipplers. Sudden death. Was he called Michael? If he was, that would be quite interesting.
That would be interesting, yeah. Mind you, I've been older than 31.
Young boy 5. I had it in my head he was 8 because of the
discrepancy.
Discrepancy between the stuff I've looked up, but again, could easily have been 5.
So we obviously can't take the app for gospel, but it's
absolutely,
interesting. Very interesting. Did you want to do now? Did you want to jump on Spirit Box, or do you want to go straight for a Ouija board? Or?
Do you fancy a Ouija board experiment?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah? We want fingers on the planchette then. And first question we want to ask is, if there is a spirit present, please move the planchette to a letter of your choice, or the word yes for us, please.
What I try and do with this is almost just gently hover, almost just touching it.
So you just
Just
feel
the
it on your
tips of your
fingertips.
fingers, yeah. Unholy. Just going to Paratek.
Okay.
You could argue doing a Ouija board is unholy.
That's an interesting response, isn't it?
Better.
If there's a spirit present, please move the planchette to spell out a message for us.
Adjust. K2 starting to pulse. Slight pulse on the K2. Kiss. K2's getting stronger. Just move your phone back away for a little bit. It's your phone.
Nope.
No, maybe not.
And that's on aeroplane mode as well. Everything's on aeroplane mode,
Tent.
so that shouldn't be affected.
Oh, the spikes right up then.
Do you see that?
It's about 15 minutes.
Deceit.
Deceit.
Is the young boy Henry? Are you here in this room with us?
6.
Is that the age that you were, Henry?
Gas. Threat. No one here is a threat. We just want to communicate with you.
Bath.
It's the second time that word's come up. I've never known bath come up before.
Okay, I can feel some movement, so go with it.
There used to be an old cast iron bath in the back garden and I threw it away.
Was it?
Was that your bath? I believe.
Feeling alright, Steve?
Yeah.
Benjamin. Is that the name of the young boy?
That's my son's name.
Is it?
No.
Okay. What have we got?
It's a really silly question. Your son's not in the bath now, is he?
I don't know.
Okay, two's good enough.
Take it.
Party. Is that a G?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Say. Say what? Vicky. Thank you for moving the planchette. Please keep that going.
Come on, move the planchette and spell something out for us. Speak to us.
Paralysis. To be fair, my arm's hurting.
It's really weird, isn't it?
Got a
Usually.
bit of an ache on it.
Yeah.
Usually,
I'm
yeah.
going to readjust a bit because that's aching now.
Trouble.
Who's trouble? Are you trouble?
Give us your initials or a date.
Day. We had the numbers 3-1 come out earlier. Is that the date that you're trying to give us? 31? 31st?
Okay, so it's got nothing.
Is the old man here? We know you are here because we've heard that you're here. People have seen you. Will you either show yourself or give us a message?
Come and sit in the chair next to me. And sit in the chair and join us on this board. That's it, come closer. Come closer.
Touch that green light for us, please. If you touch that green light, you'll change the colour. Try and make it go all the way to the top and go to red. That's it. Keep going.
Do you want to touch my hand?
Well, we've got some activity on the K2 then. Went to about halfway, look. Got another means of communication here. Can you speak to us on that device? Use the energy. Steve has his hand held open. He's waiting for you to touch it. Alright, saying goodbye to the board now, but please communicate any other way you feel necessary. Goodbye.
Speak to us through the box in the middle of the table. It's a message. Tell us your name. So there's a young boy who likes to speak to people. Come and chat to us. I want to know the name of the doctor who worked here. Can you say that again for me?
What I find fascinating is that we've had the fluctuations on the K2
Yeah.
and on this one, yet the REM pod's been completely inactive and silent. So you'd think if there's anything running under the floorboards or anything like that, it would be picked up on the REM pod as well.
Especially there. I mean, that's right in the middle. That's exactly where I would have said was the best place to put it.
Yeah. If there's anyone in this room with us, please make yourself known. Can you give us a knock?
Text
We'll watch that message.
Could you repeat the knock for me if there's anyone here? If you touch the red light on the floor, lots of other lights will appear and a little sound will go off. and that will just alert us and let us know of your presence. But it was proper freaky to look over there and see a bloke stood.
Well, yeah, I was sat. It wasn't much lighter than this in here, to be fair, other than the fly catcher.
Yeah.
I was sat just there, and I mean, like I said, I was just sat in, I looked at the door, and I just looked round the shop, and as I looked round, I was like, oh. And I obviously got up, but
When you got up, did he actually like, he didn't move or anything, he just...
well, as I panned around in sort of a semicircle from there to having looked up from my phone, I just looked around like that. As I looked through the hatch, I saw him, but then I obviously carried on looking, immediately looked back and stood up, but I couldn't see it again then. But I'd spent,
Katie.
I wasn't.
Is that you? Is that you we're talking about?
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
This is why I brought that
That's
up.
not normal noise in here.
If this was your shop or you worked here,
Hey, you know you just mentioned
carry on
chills.
working.
Sorry?
You know,
I've got an icy cold.
Yeah,
I've
you know you
literally
just
got
mentioned
freezing
chills.
cold.
Yeah.
I've got a cold behind me.
My arms.
Yeah.
This arm here is freezing.
I haven't, but what I would say is that when I held my hand out over there, that hand was definitely cooler than the one I had on the board.
And it's just stopped. Nothing.
Stops
So
all of
I'd
us. It
actually say
stops.
it's warming up as well.
Absolutely.
Would
It stops all of a sudden.
I'd literally say that's warming up as well.
Thank you if that was you that did that for us and joined us. I don't want you to go so soon though, so can you please come back? We are here to talk to you. That was a weird feeling, that was.
Yeah.
It's like all the hairs on my back and everything had stood on end.
Down my arm.
It's,
literally, I felt the goosebumps on
It's
my arm.
goosebumps on another level almost. It's like literally, it's like your skin's contracted.
Yes, yeah.
That was how I could describe it, and it.
To me, it felt, you know, you've had a sunburn and then you get a bruise.
Yeah, tight skin. Yeah.
Yeah,
It felt like that on my arm.
That's why I brought it up and mentioned it, because I think we always find that when you sort of discuss things and you're just within your own sort of discussion bubble, things then start happening. Because I think so far we've been very focused on the investigation and we've focused on trying to get stuff.
Yeah.
We haven't really sort of chilled out and just...
Well, I was completely preoccupied when it happened to me. I mean, I'd just been on at least 2.5 hour phone call with my mate in America.
Yeah.
And I'd said to him, I said, oh, I'll send you some photos. The Wi-Fi kept dropping out that night as well. I must have rung him. Probably got it on my call records. I must have rung him half a dozen times, and then he must have rung me half a dozen times, because we were talking to each other, and all of a sudden you realise you're not talking to anybody.
Yeah.
So I'd ring him back, and he'd say, sorry, I missed all that. And it was just a weird night. The radio was playing up, dropping out, breaking up. Kept having to ring each other back through the Wi-Fi, and then that happened.
What day was it? What sort of day of the week was it?
It was a Sunday night.
It was a Sunday.
Yeah.
It was a Sunday night. Okay. What sort of time would you say it was?
Seems to like us talking about it.
Yeah, it does.
Um,
Interesting take.
It obviously wanted you to see it.
Yeah,
Whatever it
and,
is, it wanted you to see it.
Do you want us to see it?
I would say it was between 12 and 1 o'clock in the morning.
I don't know if it's a reflection of a car light, but I saw a light go across
A
there.
car didn't come past. Can't see out the front window from here. There's a big white van
Right.
park.
Was that you that made that light on the wall? Ooh.
Yeah.
Big spike down on the K2. And again.
Yeah. Like I said, it responded to the EMF meter when I
Yeah.
had that shiver.
Are you trying to get our attention right now? See, I've been reading a lot of the common time for activity that people have reported already is between 9 and 10, which I believe probably used to be locking up time when it was
Yeah, it would
tipless.
have been. Yes, I imagine it would have been, wouldn't it?
Because I think some of the old staff that used to work here when it was tipless used to report that sort of activity then.
I haven't spoken to the. I actually know the people who own Tipplers, the last people who owned it. Steve Homer. it would be interesting to talk to Steve if I saw him and just say, you know, you spent a long time in here. But the tall guy, the very tall, thin guy with the grey hair, I'd like to know his name. I'd like to know his name after quite a few names we've had today.
Yeah.
And I'd like to know if it was definitely him that died, because they did say that they were selling the business because there'd been a death and they couldn't cope with it anymore. And I interpreted that as being the death, whoever's death that was relevant to the running of Tippler.
Do you work at Tippler's?
Wow. Oh my god, I went to 4 out of 5 then.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow.
I would say that's our answer.
Potentially. Alright.
Sounded like a pebble or something. Right. What's the floor in there? Looks like a rock.
Did you like alcohol?
Could you advise me on a good cider? It's the first time I ever had a Demi John and Old Rosie was brought from Tippler's.
Was it?
It's the only time I've ever come.
Did you used to work for Steve Homer?
I haven't got anything on Henry with the camera. Should I put them on the table?
Yeah, you can do. Maybe just lie him down and just... and encourage things to play with them or whatever.
Almost looks more creepy like that, it looks dead. Right guys, we've done a few experiments here in the main shop area. We've run a few apps, we've tried Spirit Box a little bit, we've tried Ouija Board, and we've been having the K2 meters with us. I think the main activity we've had really is probably through the K2 meters, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I
A
would.
few words come through the Spirit Box which we need to watch back to review, to see what they actually said, and we've had a few relevant words come through on Paratek, but I think whatever is here, it feels like there's an energy here but potentially not that strong, so I think the K2 is the easiest way for it to communicate. With the Ouija board you can feel like something was trying but almost didn't quite have enough energy. So we've left the K2 set up here now, left Paratek running with locked off camera so we can monitor that. We're going to go now down to the basement and we'll see if we catch anything there. I think before we go down to the basement there's a chair here. I'll actually go pick the REM pod up and put it on the chair in the middle.
Yeah.
If that's okay?
Yeah.
Height-wise, there was a till here, or somebody stood here. That's probably where they'd be.
Yeah,
So should we
good theory.
head down?
Yeah, go for it. Mate, one fall and you're gonna suffer, so...
Suffer.
yeah.
That's on the first one down here. My bag's in the chair. As with all pendulum sessions, I'm going to start off by asking, will you please move the pendulum in a motion to signify the answer yes for me, please? Straight away. Anti-clockwise. Circular motions. Can you see that on the camera?
Yeah.
Thank you. Can you now move the pendulum to signify no for me, please?
Ticking.
Left and right ticking almost, yeah. Is there a gentleman who resides here? Yes. Did you work for the off-licence tippers?
Tipplers.
Tipplers. Did you work for the off-licence tipplers? Yes. Were you in your 50s when you died? Yes. Is there a young boy here? Yes. Is he 8 years of age? No. Is he 5 years of age? Yes. That's interesting. Okay. Did he die on the premises? Did he die in this building? Yes.
I think that's related to the building itself, like when it was a doctor's surgery.
There's every chance.
Because it's quite a random sort of death otherwise, isn't it?
You say that if this place was a foundry as well. That'd have been quite dangerous work. I've got this image in my head, and I don't know why. I've got an image of a child being drowned in the bath.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's because bath kept coming through the thing or what. I've got an image of a child being held under the water.
It's pretty dark, isn't it?
Yeah. Did the young boy who died here, did he drown? Yes. Did he drown in a bath? It's going really strong. Yes. Was he murdered? Oh my god. You see that?
Yeah, I can see that. And you're completely still.
Was he murdered? Was he drowned in the bath? Was it the bath that was outside? What do you make to that?
I wasn't expecting sort of sinister.
I've been thinking about that for a long time since I was upstairs and we started doing it. The first thing I thought was, I've just got a feeling this little boy drowned. I've just got a feeling he drowned. Then bath kept coming up.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought, well, I wonder if he drowned in the bath. I wonder if that's what I'm sort of sensing or feeling. I wonder what that's... And then obviously Benjamin come up, which is Stephen's son's name, so obviously I didn't...
Yeah, because you asked whether he was in the bath.
Yeah, so that's why I asked if he was in the bath. But I just had a feeling. Bath come up a couple of times as well, and word come through a couple of times. If you remember, it was going on about water as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Or flood or something, so much water. Which would be your last thoughts, wouldn't it? It's very dark. Well, I hate to say it, but if this place was left to a young boy, you know, when we were going through the history,
Yeah.
it was left to a young boy. I wonder if potentially someone. That's that question. Did the young boy own this building? See that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Were you murdered because you own this building? Yes. Did the man who murdered you get caught?
That's just stopped, doesn't it?
Did the man who murdered you own the building after you? Yes. There's two ways of looking at that, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
There's a one way. That's fucked up. There's another way. Is it entirely in my head and sort of the emotion effect?
Could be.
But I don't feel like I've moved the planchette at all. Not the planchette, the pendulum at all, obviously.
No, well, you always steady the pendulum before you...
I'd like to, think we could see that on the camera, but that is a strange line to go by, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll ask again, did the young boy own this building? Yes. I'll ask again, was the young boy, did you drown? The little boy who's here, were you 8 years of age when you died? It's ticking left to right.
That's mad, isn't it?
So that's twice now that that's gave the same answer.
Yeah.
Were you 5 years old when you died?
And for a second time that's given the same answer as well.
Just moving in a circular motion.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Were you drowned in the bath? I almost feel like something's pulling the bottom of the pendulum.
Pendulum's not moving in a natural way, it almost stops
It's pulling.
immediately, doesn't it, and goes the other way.
Was it the bath that was in the garden?
Getting stronger again.
Was it a man who murdered you? Was it a woman who murdered you? So it's changed
That's
straight
just
away.
yeah.
Weird thing is holding. So the way I do it, you probably notice I've got the ring around my finger tight.
Yeah, I've watched
And then
it very closely.
I
on
lock
the
my
videos.
fingers together like that to try and
Yeah.
stop it from moving in any direction.
Yeah,
So if it's to do a circle in motion, I'd sort of have to do that kind
yeah,
of thing.
yes, you would, yeah.
To,
And it takes quite a lot of body movement in order to
do that.
to make the pendulum
Because my
move,
fingers
yeah.
are locked, I can't just sort of do that with my finger.
No,
if that makes sense.
absolutely
It is
not. Yeah,
solid.
yeah.
But it's weird because when you do it, you can feel it's almost, rather than just doing that, it
Rather
feels
than
like
swinging,
something's
it's pulling,
going
is it pulling down?
like that. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Well, it
it's
seems to
really-
be, if it was swinging, it would do this
Yeah.
sort of, whereas that seemed to be, on the last two questions, it sort of went like that, stopped, and then went like that.
Almost like something's
Yeah.
pulling it and then
Yeah, almost like it's got a set limit to it.
you can feel
Strange.
the pull. It's really strange. I'd like to delve deeper into the history of this place, definitely, because it does seem strange, that doesn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Seems strange that a young boy would own it. Die so young.
Well, it comes back to that, like I said about the Christopher Banks thing, in the report, which you're welcome to take away and read it yourself, it does mention in there that Christopher Banks went bankrupt in whatever year it was. And then after that, because obviously they've just done a historic report, so they've just got a list of all the owners. But when you look at the next owner of the property, the next owner of the property's name was a mixture of Christopher Banks' son's first name and what I later found out from the records of the graveyards was that Christopher Banks had a middle name and they'd used that as the surname. So I am wondering, and then that coinciding with the fact that it would appear there's an 8-year difference between the birth and death on the records that I read.
Who owned it after the young boy?
It's all in the report. I can look it up. I don't know the name off the top of my head, but I would suspect he never owned it. But he did live it. Christopher Banks apparently didn't live here. He owned some property up in Welshgate, which he used to live in, and he owned most of this block from where Tesco's is now. I mean, Tesco's, as was the Angel, that building used to be, if you go in the museum and look at the old pictures, that building used to be full frontal with all these. So that obviously went, and he owned a block up here, and also a bit on Beale's Corner, I think. And apparently Christopher Banks, there's no actual record of Christopher Banks living in this building, but he did own it. But his family did. So whether I don't know what it was, whether his wife lived here with his son or whatever, but
Something strange, isn't it? Doesn't quite add up.
without looking at the report again and checking the names, I'm not sure if his son might have been called Joseph. I'm not sure. Something we'd have to look up, but might be worth a try.
The young boy who's here, is your name Joseph?
Out of interest, is his name Henry?
Is your name Henry? That feels like it's being pulled. That really feels like it's being pulled. Yes. You see that? It's weird.
Okay, so we've got communication.
Did you own this property? Were you pretending to be Joseph? Doesn't make sense, does it?
Not really.
No.
Oh God.
On your heads.
There's quite a few
Did you
words.
say the number 31 came up earlier?
Yes. With Michael 31.
Witch, Satan,
Float.
report.
You get float.
Yeah, that's just come up now.
I asked if the boat was out, the bath was outside. You got outside.
Yeah, there was an old cast iron bath outside and we gave it away.
Find it weird how bath come up a couple of times on it. It's such a random word.
Yeah.
It come up 2 or 3 times.
I mean, even with words being sort of, I don't know,
And when it was talking about water initially.
pre-produced, there's been a lot of mention of soaked. Was it?
Yeah, soaked. Absolutely.
Soaked. Bath.
Absolutely soaked bath.
You two were talking about drowning when I came back in. There's a lot of talking about water, isn't there?
Yeah.
Breath.
Obviously with the cellars being flooded as well. That
Yeah.
could be another thing to consider.
Breath. You obviously wouldn't be able to catch your breath, would you, if you're drowning?
Very true.
I do wonder if that is the little boy's story, so to speak.
Mm.
If he was drowned in the bath, or
Miserable.
it's a dark story, but
It's a very dark story if he was.
fortunately in those days,
Miserable and ended up being drowned in the bath.
kids were, how do I put it? I'll say more expendable, but they weren't
It wasn't that.
mothered and looked after the way they were.
No,
now.
there
They
wasn't
sent up
that.
chimneys, and
Yeah,
like you say, it was more.
not as coveted as they are now. were they?
Nah.
Oh yeah, it's gone cold, isn't it? Oh, cheers. Yeah.
Right.
Give this a go then. I think we've actually got no speaker, even though it's been fully charged.
You joking?
No,
What caused that?
don't know, because it's never ever died before, has it? Okay, so that's odd.
Strange.
Yeah, you've just seen how many times I've just tried to
Yeah.
get that back on.
I don't know how safe that is, but
Yeah, I'll take that.
Happy with that?
Yep. You know me, amount one for comfort.
Right. Oh my god. Still myself. Right, so any spirits down here with us? Please give us a message on this device. It's the young boy who drowned. Is your spirit down here? Or the old man who's seen upstairs? Are you down here either? So hard to get comfort.
Sorry, mate. I'm alright, to be fair.
I know you haven't been, you are, let's try.
You know, people have said that the young boy's been seen by where the old toilet was,
Yeah.
or the new toilet, whatever. Do you think it'd have been plausible that maybe they'd have had a bath in there at one point, or wouldn't it have had the size? Or
it used to be a house at some point, so yeah, quite possibly, yeah.
maybe that's where the bath was, and that's why.
Yeah. Because it was originally, you'll struggle to see it now because it's dark, but it's clearly three separate buildings from the back.
Yeah.
If the young boy is down here with us, please give us a message on this box I'm holding in my hand. So uncomfortable. You told us a minute ago that you were murdered.
Is this true? Did you own this property? Is your name Henry? Or could you tell us your name if it's not?
It's the name of the man who murdered you.
Any questions? Any further questions?
No, I haven't, to be honest, one.
Do you have any other messages for us at all?
What was this cellar used for?
So we're in number 71 Road Street now, next door to number 70 where we were earlier. Is there anyone else here on this side of the building that we haven't met yet?
Who lived in this building? Can you tell us the name of the man who owned this building? Seems absolutely flat, doesn't it?
Once again, yeah.
Just like I said, I've never really felt anything down here out of the ordinary, other than what you'd expect in it being
Just creepy.
derelict, creepy, cold and damp.
Yeah, that's it. I think what you said doesn't necessarily mean there's anything down here. No. You've got to ask yourself,
It just looks like there should be.
who would want to remain down here,
Yeah, exactly.
realistically? Well, I head back up and I've got to be honest, I've got a feeling if anything's going to happen, it's going to happen
Upstairs.
where we were initially,
I think so.
if I'm honest.
Yeah. Let's head back up there.
Cheers. I'm amazed that Katie hasn't gone off.
Well, from what we know.
Well, yeah, I'd have thought we'd have heard it.
The REM pod, you mean?
Sorry, Rampod, yeah. Come away from that, please.
On command.
Yeah, what's to be told what to do?
Come back to it. Come back to it and say hello. Come on, come back to it and say hello. Touch it again. Got the words. Uphold, idiot, Kate.
Idiot?
Warrior, hail, grow,
Kate.
Harry,
I mean, it has spurred out a few words, hasn't it, to be
Yeah.
fair?
young.
But two of them have been familiar to you, haven't they? Because you've had
Well,
Kate
we've had
and
October, which is the name of the shop next door.
Yeah.
We've had Wall, which is the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
We've had Benjamin, my son. And we've had the word, we've had the name John, which is the name of one of our tenants, who I said earlier wasn't particularly into this sort of stuff.
Oh, it's John
The biblical.
Well, we also had Unholy, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Which wine? I'm surprised that was going
That's
off.
settled down, hasn't
That's
it?
gone off
Considering-
continuously until I said come away from it. And now it's... That's interesting.
It is interesting because the night I had those shivers, when I said I grabbed my EMF app on my phone and it was going mad, as soon as I said, I don't stop, I don't feel comfortable with it, I stopped immediately as well. So
Come back and sit back down with us. We'd like you to come back now and sit back down with us. And sit next to me where the doll is. Really interesting if you start talking. About what you saw when that thing goes off.
yes.
Right up that house.
So, a second Ouija board session for tonight. Do you want to lead this one?
Yeah. We're opening this board up. We want to communicate with anyone who's here. Want to speak to the young boy. Young boy who lived here. I also want to hear from the man who stands by the till. The man with the grey hair. Come and give us a message. Come and use our energy.
If it is the young boy,
Might not be able to spell.
yeah. Especially if he's 5.
If it's a young boy, tell us your age. Move to a number and tell us your age. Come on, please, come and use our energy and speak to us.
That K2 is going.
That's it, come closer. Move the planchette on the board. There's a hole in it. If you line the hole up with letters, you can spell out a word to us. Ouija board's absolutely flat. It's like whatever's here, it's almost like it hasn't got that much energy. It's kind of like it's sort of...
Oh, it's not intelligent enough to, like you said earlier about not being able to speak, not being able to spell.
Perhaps, yeah.
But we've had like gobbledygook a lot through this where it just doesn't, none of it makes sense,
Yeah,
but
it's
there's just
still got
nothing.
that energy on it, yeah.
Right, I'm going to shut this board down now. Absolutely nothing on there, is there?